Hello, I'm Ariana with Fresh Pair of Eyes. How are you?
I'm so fine. That was just delightful.
I'll keep it in the interview. So, why a children's TV show? You've done children's work before, but it's mostly been voice stuff like you are Fix-It Felix. But why a live action TV show starring you?
Well, I was moved to do it. I was finding that I was being affected by how I saw grown-ups treating each other just in a day-to-day environment where I saw people treating each other with a lack of compassion and a lack of kindness. And I realized that started to affect me in a way I did not anticipate. I was like, this seems crazy to me. These are lessons that we learn when we're very young. These are lessons that we learn from such programs as Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And then I was like, oh, how can we revisit this? How can we revisit these messages that we learn at this young age and hopefully grow up to be adults who still incorporate that into their lives? And so I was energized to try to make that a mission of mine.
Yes, what I love about the show and what I feel like I also have been missing as an adult is like you'll remember when someone is kind to you, especially a stranger, like you'll hold on to that for years to come.
Absolutely. We all have, people in our lives who have done something kind for us, and it stays with you, and it can really shape not only just how your day goes, how you grow up.
Yes. What I also love about the show is that like when they have issues, it's not solved by magic or something. They actually have to deal with it. Like in the Halloween episode, there were going to be jack-o'-lanterns around, and she just had to deal with the issue. Why did you want that element to be that we're just going to have to deal with it? There's no magic. This is life.
Exactly what you just said. This is life. There is no magic, but how can we best cope with the challenges that we face on a day-to-day basis? And children are experiencing so many things that are new to them, and new can sometimes be scary. So I wanted to address a lot of these things that children do feel: fear, disappointment, loss. Let's touch on these things, but in an age-appropriate way, in a gentle way, in a way that they can take some solace and then just learn a little bit on what tools we can use when we do encounter these situations.
For sure. And that's definitely something adults could always be a reminder of too. You mentioned Mr. Rogers. What other children's shows did you like when you were younger?
Oh, plenty. I've always been a huge fan of animation. Cartoons were my jam, which is why I was very excited that we could incorporate animation into Hello Jack. But also, I loved Sesame Street. There was one show that I was very fond of called The Electric Company, and it was so fun and playful, but it still had lessons. But it had incredibly catchy songs, just many memorable sketches. I think that by watching The Electric Company, that kind of eventually inspired me to get into sketch and improvisational comedy, after college at the Second City in Chicago, and that led me down that path for many years.
Yes. Another element that I like about the show is that you talk to the camera as if the audience is actually there. Is that challenging to do? Like, how have you made that seem natural?
Ah, it might seem challenging at first. You quickly become used to it. The way that my wonderful director, Bridget Stokes, helped me was imagine that the camera is the young viewer that I'm talking to. Think of a young person in my life, in my case, my nephew, like a 4-year-old Billy Gonzalez that I'm sitting there talking to. And these are the questions I want to ask him. Like, what are some ways we can show that we care? So to make the camera my proxy for my young viewer actually became much simpler than you might think. After a while, you got to break the seal a little bit. But once we got there, it was pretty easy.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me.
Of
Congrats on
course.
season 2. And let's go season 3. I'll talk
Let's
to you
go see
then.
it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks. Bye.
Bye now.